Coming up on tonight's broadcast, a former OSU faculty member competes in the Amazing Race, and a devastating car crash in Florida, and more Occupy protesters are arrested. All that and more right here on the Beaver News. Welcome to your Monday night edition of the Beaver News. We're glad to have you with us. I'm Courtney Cossette.
And I'm Kim Stowell. The final stages of a 12-year building and development plan, known as the Campus Master Plan, are finally being completed, reports the Daily Barometer. The purpose of the plan is to, quote, identify guiding principles and policies and establish a conceptual framework for the long-range planning of OSU that will direct physical development over the approximate 10 to 12-year planning horizon, end quote. The plan began in 2004 and is set to be completed in 2015. The economic circumstances have had an impact on the plan, but the large change in student enrollment has as well. Mark McCambridge, the Vice President for Finance and Administration, explained it as, quote, the master plan is the key, but it is integrated with our enrollment and management plan. Over the last 2 or 3 years, we have grown faster than we ever thought we would, end quote. The most recent building requests were placed in June of 2011, requesting a large classroom building and another residence hall.
Oregon State University's Student Media Department is offering workshops for students to increase their skills in a variety of categories. Brown bag workshops are offered Fridays afternoons from 12 to 1 p.m. in the Daily Barometer conference room located in Snell Hall. However, this Friday, the workshop will be located in Dearborn Hall, room 118, at 1 p.m. and is required for all students who are taking Practicum 409. Lynn Clendenin of Oregon Public Broadcasting will be the guest speaker, so see you there.
A recent study has been conducted by researchers from Oregon State University to test the idea that chlorophyll could have a preventative effect on cancer from exposure to carcinogens. The study used over 12,000 trout due to their lower cost in comparison to mice and rats, reports the Daily Barometer. Natural chlorophyll was used for the study, unlike many other studies. Like human, the trout have liver enzymes that break down the carcinogen and convert it into its harmful form. The study found that the chlorophyll bound to lower doses of carcinogens and helped remove them from the body, lowering the tumor growths.
While only a small percentage of Oregon State University faculty and staff can call themselves professional artists, there are a myriad of hidden talents among the OSU community, and a few of those are now being revealed at the OSU Invitational Staff Art Exhibit on display through February 17th at LaSalle Stewart Center Galleria. As reported by the university, the art show is made possible with the assistance of Association of Office Professionals and the Professional Faculty Leadership Association. The regular gallery hours are Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
In more campus art news, Mark Newport's series Alter Egos is currently open in Fairbanks Gallery until February 8th. The exhibit includes digital prints and embroidered comic book covers, as well as hand-knitted superhero costumes hanging from the ceiling, reports Annecy Buchanan of the Daily Barometer. One of the most prominent interpretations of the exhibit revolves around family and the desire that many have to please their parents, as well as the importance of imaginative play. Newport himself has been known to wear the costumes out in public to show off his work. We now go to Brittany Mangold with a report from the OSU Volunteer and Nonprofit Expo.
I'm here at the Nonprofit Volunteer Expo held at the Memorial Union. This expo offers information for students who are looking for volunteer, internship, and work opportunities in Corvallis. I'm here with Nadia. She's a sophomore at Oregon State. So Nadia, tell me, why did you come here and what did you expect to gain from visiting these organizations at the expo today?
Well, I've just recently switched my major to public health, and I've always been interested in nonprofits, so I just wanted to see what the Corvallis area had to offer.
And have you actually found something that you'd want to be involved in just from this expo today?
There's a booth that I was especially interested in on domestic violence and rape and how to outreach to the women or men. And then there's also the Safe Haven Humane Society.
Thank you so much. I'm here with Lauren, who's the Volunteer and Outreach Coordinator at the Oregon Environmental Council. So Lauren, tell me, you guys have a booth here at the expo, and what do you hope to gain from just having it here on Oregon State campus?
Thank you. We're here to represent Oregon Environmental Council. Our office is based in Portland, but we do work all throughout Oregon, and we engage volunteers and interns in that work that we do, protecting human health, the health of our rivers and watersheds, healthy food and farms, and global warming and climate change.
So as a volunteer, what would responsibilities be?
Volunteers do a variety of things in our organization, from administrative support, legislative support, program support, research, writing, graphic design, etc.
So it sounds like any area of interest that anyone has, they can pretty much get involved here with you guys.
That's correct. We do our best to match skills, experiences, and interests to needs in the organization.
And again, this is Lauren, who's the coordinator, volunteer outreach coordinator for Oregon Environmental Clinic. Thank you, Lauren.
Thank you.
This has been Brittany Mangold at the Nonprofit and Volunteer Expo. Back to you at the studio.
Thank you, Brittany. OSU Piano International presents a special Steinway event featuring a lecture and concert by British pianist Paul Roberts on Wednesday, February 1st. According to the university, Roberts is a specialist in French Impressionism and known for his sensitive recordings of Debussy's music and for his highly acclaimed book on Debussy's piano music and its relation to visual art and literature. Corvallis OSU Piano International is a volunteer organization that sponsors a series of recitals, concerts, and other activities involving piano. This event will take place at the LaSalle Stewart Center starting at 7:30 p.m., with ticket prices starting at $20 in advance and $25 at the door. OSU students are free of cost, as well as attendees ages 8 to 18.
Congratulations to Mas Subramanian, who is set to receive the 2012 Chemical Research Society of India Medal, an award given to outstanding chemists of Indian origin who work outside of India. Oregon State University reports that Subramanian is an internationally recognized chemist at OSU and the Milton Harris Professor of Materials Science in the OSU Department of Chemistry. She is an expert in fields such as high-temperature superconductivity, thermoelectric, magnetoresistive materials, catalysts, and solid-state dielectrics. She will be honored this February at the 2012 CRSI 14th National Symposium in Chemistry in India. We are taking a short break, but don't go anywhere because when we come back, we will have a sports update and a look at national news.
Welcome back to the Beaver News, live on KBVR. This coming Thursday, February 2nd, Carl DeRossi presenting a lecture that will feature a dramatically staged excerpt from his recent play Fallacy. DeRossi, Professor Emeritus of Chemistry at Stanford University, is a scientist, fiction writer, playwright, and cultural critic. Vinay Ramakrishnan of the Daily Barometer reports that he was also one of the inventors of the oral contraceptive. A literary innovator in fields he calls science in fiction and science in theater, he is the author of more than a dozen creative works in those genres. Among other awards, he holds the National Medal of Science, the Priestley Medal, the National Medal of Technology for his development of environmentally safe insecticides, and the Austrian Cross of Honor for Science and Art. The presentation will take place in LaSalle Stewart Center at 7:30 p.m. and is free to the public.
Marcus Horning and Joanne Mellish are seeking to replace the speculations that surround declining sea lion populations in the water around Alaska with actual data. The Daily Barometer is reporting that in order to understand why the population of stellar sea lions in the eastern Gulf of Africa is declining, they need to understand how they died. The researchers placed telemetry devices into the body cavities of 36 juveniles, which record and store information on the life and death of the sea lions, floating to the surface and transmitting signals after the sea lion has died. So far, the studies have shown that 13 of the juveniles have died from predators.
62-year-old Kathy Alden recently retired from Oregon State University, where she had been a professor for roughly 40 years. She has spent her recent retirement on a mission to do the following: teach online classes at a major university, convince her husband to audition for a reality TV show, compete against former Olympians and other world-class athletes in a contest that clearly was not designed for grandparents, and surprise herself and millions of naysayers by displaying superior know-how on national TV. I think it's safe to say she was not retiring because she was tired. In fact, the opposite. The university is reporting that last summer, Kathy and her husband were accepted to be part of her favorite TV show, The Amazing Race, in which 11 teams of 2 trek around the world and take part in various challenges. They didn't win the $1 million grand prize, but they finished in 5th place, better than half of the other teams. Along the way, the Aldens visited 8 countries on 3 different continents and took part in a series of bizarre challenges, from bodybuilding competition to running a bunny through an obstacle course and everything in between.
Multiple disastrous car accidents in Florida over the weekend killed 10 people and sent another 18 to the hospital. The crashes occurred late Saturday evening and early Sunday morning. The Florida Highway Patrol said the crash involved at least 12 passenger cars and about 7 semis. CNN is reporting that the accident has been blamed on poor visibility caused by a nearby brush fire. The collisions occurred on Interstate 75 and Highway 441. The accident occurred on both the northbound and the southbound sides of the interstate. The northbound side has been reopened, but the southbound side still remains closed.
Stephen Camps, a survivor of the horrendous Sunday night plethora of car accidents, recalls the incident, saying after the crashes stopped, all he could hear was the sound of crying as the air, heavy with smoke, shone red from vehicle fires. Camps and a friend were returning from Gainesville from McCanopy early Sunday on I-75 northbound when traffic came to a stop on the interstate. He said they were talking to a man in a stopped car in the next lane about the low visibility when they began hearing crashes as cars were struck from behind. Camp said, quote, "The car next to us literally went under a semi-truck. We saw the guy die after talking to him before we could even react. As it was happening on the northbound side, it was happening on the southbound side as well. There was nowhere to go. It was just cars hitting cars," end quote.
About 400 Occupy protesters were arrested this weekend in Oakland, California, reports CNN. The arrests are the largest in city history. The protesters were attempting to take over a long vacant auditorium in the heart of downtown Oakland when they were stopped by the police. Rocks and bottles were thrown at the police, who returned with beanbag rounds, tear gas, and smoke grenades. The protesters caused significant damage to the city hall, including graffiti, garbage, vandalism, and destruction. The mayor said there are no firm estimates at this time as to how much damage has been caused by the protesters. The protesters of Occupy Oakland have put out a call for financial aid to help some of those arrested make bail. We are heading into our final break of the evening, but we will have more of your national and international stories when we return. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to the Beaver News right here on Channel 26. Robin Lim, an American woman who has helped thousands of poor Indonesian women have a healthy pregnancy and birth, was announced as CNN's Hero of the Year Award Sunday night at the annual show that honors the top 10 CNN heroes of the year. The event took place at the Shrine Auditorium in Los Angeles, California. Lim became a midwife after her sister and her sister's baby died from complications during pregnancy several years ago. She and her husband then sold their home in Hawaii and moved to Bali to reinvent their lives. Through her Bumai Sihat health clinics, Mother Robin, or Ibu Robin, as she is called by the locals, offers free prenatal care, birthing services, and medical aid in Indonesia, where many families cannot afford care. After being announced as the CNN Hero of the Year, a tearful Lim accepted the award from host Anderson Cooper and made an impassionate plea for help, stating, quote, "Today on our earth, 981 mothers in the prime of their life will die, and tomorrow again and yesterday. And I'm asking you to help change that. We don't know how many babies are lost, but all of us can help change that."
5 people were found dead in Birmingham, Alabama on Sunday while officers were responding to a report of a robbery. The authorities have initiated a homicide investigation, reports CNN. Sergeant Johnny Williams said, quote, "We don't think it's random at this point," end quote. The evidence found has not been specified. So far, no arrests have been made and no further details are available.
For many young men, high school football is a big part of their life. However, the consequences of this intense contact sport are often overlooked at the time. Dr. Sanjay Gupta has been following the 2011 season of a North Carolina high school football team for a closer look at the health and safety issues on the playing field. The study was initiated after 17-year-old Nathan Stowell played in what turned out to be the final game of his life. The star running back's autopsy would reveal he died of second impact syndrome, which occurs when a player is hit again before the brain has had a chance to heal from an initial injury. It turns out those repetitive hits Stowell took on the field would also make him the youngest reported case of CTE, a degenerative disease found in football players and other athletes in contact sports who get repeated blows to the head. CNN reports that during halftime of Stowell's last game, his mother, Connie, noticed him walking funny off the field. She then received a phone call to rush down to the sidelines, but by the time she got there, Nathan had collapsed and was airlifted to Kansas State University Medical Center. By 4 a.m. the following morning, Nathan was gone. The Brain Bank is the world's largest collection of athlete brains and has documented more than 50 cases of CTE. Much of that work is in the hands of Dr. Ann McKee, the bank's director and neuropathologist. She dissects the brain to track the trauma, and what she finds in the brain of some players in their 40s and 50s is astonishing. But to see the same type of damage in a 17-year-old's brain was something that even surprised McKee. It's the youngest case she's documented, and McKee says this is a call to action to really protect the kids and make sure to take proper precautions when playing sports.
An Israeli drone crashed Sunday after losing a wing and bursting into a ball of fire. No injuries have been reported, and the cause of the crash is still under investigation. The drone was unveiled nearly 2 years ago after announcing that it could fly 620 miles, reaching western Iran. CNN reports that its original intention was to gather information, but it can also be modified to carry missiles. The drone has an 85-foot wingspan and a 1,200 horsepower engine with the ability to stay aloft for 24 to 36 hours.
U.S. Defense Secretary Leon Panetta has acknowledged publicly the key role a Pakistani doctor played when assisting the United States ahead of the strike on Osama bin Laden's compound last May that killed the terrorism mastermind. During an interview Sunday night on 60 Minutes, Panetta expressed his concern for the safety and whereabouts of Shakil Afridi, who provided key information, adding that he ought to be released from the Pakistani authorities. Panetta said, quote, "This was an individual who in fact helped provide intelligence that was very helpful with regards to this operation, and he was not in any way treasonous toward Pakistan," end quote. Dr. Afridi helped the CIA use a vaccination campaign to collect DNA samples from residents of bin Laden's to verify the terror leader's presence there. Pakistan, which expressed its anger over the raid without consulting Pakistani authorities, has charged Afridi with treason. Panetta says the Pakistanis must have known bin Laden was in their country.
It was a great weekend to be a Beaver fan, as both men and basketball teams beat the Oregon Ducks in Civil War matches. Our women's gymnastics team also pulled through against Stanford on Friday. Though the gymnastics team was shorthanded when they were without freshman Chelsea Tang, Oregon State opened up the meet with its best vault performance of the season, scoring a 48.975. Michaela Stambaugh won the all-around with a score of 39.450. Oregon State's victory gave Stanford its first loss. Way to go, ladies. Keep up the good work. They will face off against Pac-12 rival Washington on February 3rd in Seattle. The men's basketball team came from behind to beat the Ducks at Matthew Knight Arena in an all-out battle on Sunday, scoring 53 points in the second half to lead them to victory 76-71. Junior Jared Cunningham scored 24 points in the second half, going 5 of 7 from the field and 6 of 8 from the stripes in the final 2 minutes to finish with a game-high 27 points and become just the 36th Oregon State player to score 1,000 career points. They will see action again when they play at Colorado on February 2nd. In her first taste of Civil War action, freshman Allie Gibson scored a career-high 23 points to lead the Oregon State women's basketball team to a 67-60 win over rival Oregon on Saturday in Gill Coliseum in front of a crowd of 3,719. Oregon State scored 9 straight points on a trio of three-pointers in the final 4 minutes to take control of what had been a back-and-forth game throughout, with 11 tie scores and 15 lead changes. Gibson's 5th three-pointer, tying her most in a single game, marked the go-ahead basket in the game. The Lady Beavers will see action again on the 2nd of February here at Gill when they face off against Colorado. In other sports news, Sports Illustrated reports that the Portland Trail Blazers will face off against their division rival, the Utah Jazz, tonight. The Blazers are coming off a home victory from Friday when they destroyed the Phoenix Suns, 109-71. The Blazers are looking to improve their road record tonight, and they currently lead at the half, 45-39. That's your sports.
That's all the news we have for you tonight, but be sure to tune in tomorrow night at 7 o'clock for more of your local, national, and international news right here on KBVR.